Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It has my name on it. It's on. It's turned on. Oh, well. I know you can hear me, but it's for broadcasting. No, I can just speak up. We're going to sing hymn number 155. 155, Circle Round for Freedom. And if you're joining us online, you can find the lyrics posted in the chat. And let's take a little learn of this. It's not a round, even though it says circle round. But the melody is on the middle line. And it says melody. So let's sing that melody line all together, shall we? Here we go. And circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole. We're pretty familiar with that, huh? So let's add a bass tenor line, which would be the bottom line. And we've got a good bass tenor section here. They'll help you. And you don't have to be any specific gender to sing bass tenor. You just have to want to sing it, huh? Here we go. Circle round for freedom. And circle round for freedom. Circle round for peace. For all of us in prison. Circle for release. Circle for the planet. Circle for each soul. For the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Then the top line is designed to be what in some circles, like Silent Night circles, we would call the descant, okay? Or the soprano part. So let's all take a stab at that soprano part. And circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole. And what this is basically is just, we've notated what we would do if we just sat around the campfire and we all chose a part and harmonized. Huh? So you can't do any wrong. So let's just take some basses and tenors here, some melody, and maybe some sopranos, and maybe there'll be other parts that emerge. All parts are welcome. Let's give it a go. 1, 2, ready, and circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole. Oh, you're doing good. Let's do it again. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole. You're doing great. I see way too many forlorn faces, gloomy mask of tragedy, kind of lost, what am I doing? Now let's connect with each other facially, huh? Back and forth. One more time, last time through. Circle round for freedom. Ready? And it is. Circle round for freedom. Circle round for peace. For all of us in prison. Circle for release. Circle for the planet. Circle for each soul. For the children of our children. Big finish. Keep the circle whole.
Good morning. Welcome to the Olympia UU congregation. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. Thank you for being here. You're welcome here just as you are, whomever you love, whatever beliefs sustain you, however you express and understand yourself, and in all the ways you're unfolding in this life. My name is Kurt Hill. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a member of the worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is Reverend Monica Jacobson-Tennessen. Reverend Monica has been a wonderful regular presence in our pulpit this year as she served as a consultant to the OUUC board and stewardship team. Her primary ministry is with the Community UU Church in Pasco, Washington, and she lives near Vancouver, Washington, with her spouse, her tween, and her 2 cats. We're joined by our minister, Reverend Mary Deere, and Troy Fisher, our music director. Here's a few things you should know about our service today. As always, we're projecting live on Zoom and YouTube, zooming, modern verb, and the service is being recorded. For those of you here in the sanctuary, you can see the sometimes creative subtitles that actually reflect what's being said on the screen in front of you. Over here are fluffy chairs and toys to keep people's hands occupied and comfortable. We are a multi-generational community, and we value our young ones. Kids, babies, and teens are welcome in the sanctuary. There's also a nursery care and story time program for children in the classroom wing. Youth in middle and high school have a youth group at 11:30 on Sundays. This month, they're exploring the topics of interdependence. We are grateful for the many hands that have helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to all who contribute in so many ways. After service, everyone will have a chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Monica. For those online, we invite you to go to a virtual breakout room. And for those here, after service in the Commons, you'll have an opportunity to discuss those reflection questions. I'll also be leading a reflection circle right after service in Classroom 3. So if you'd like to join me, grab a cup of coffee and come on down. At 11:30, after the coffee chat, please return to the main room or sanctuary for a Faith in Action forum focused on the Puget Sound estuarium. OUUC's annual auction is right around the corner. Yay! Everyone is invited to participate in this important fundraiser and community event. The live auction and Indian-inspired dinner will be held at the Asho Cultural Community Center May 4th. Purchase tickets online on a pay-what-you-can basis. While there, register to bid on all the enticing items in the online auction catalog between April 27th and May 5th. We need your donations too. Just complete the online form before next Sunday, April 21st. Together, we'll reach the sky to support OUUC and the humanitarian in Gaza. May the 4th be with us. I don't write my own jokes. Last, we're looking to finish up the stewardship drive soon so we can prepare a budget for the congregational meeting and get ready for next year. As of yesterday, there are 218 pledges committing to $465,950. While this is great news, we're still far short of our goal of $571,446. Thank you to those who have pledged so far. If you've not pledged yet, or if you have questions, visit the stewardship table in the Commons after the service, or visit the link in the website in the chat. There are many things happening at OUUC. Check out the Tuesday electronic bulletin or the website for the most up-to-date information. Now, let us open our hearts and minds as we prepare to worship. It is good to be together. This morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. If you're online and have a chalice or candle, please join us as we light our chalices together with the words of George Kimmich Beach. In the mystery of life about us, there is light. It gives us a place to be, to grow, to rejoice together. It opens the pathway to love. In this place of friendship, there is freedom. Let the light we kindle go before us, strong in hope, wide in goodwill, inviting the day to come.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Monica Jacobson-Tennessen, and I use she, her pronouns, and I am always delighted to be worshiping with OUUC. Our opening words today come from the Reverend Eric Walker Wickstrom. We come together this morning because within us there is something that knows we need more than we can find in our aloneness. We know instinctively in the depths of ourselves that we need others for this journey of life, even though we may also guard our independence and our individuality quite fiercely. So let us celebrate all that makes us unique, yet also all that makes us one. And let us dream dreams of what we can do together. Come, let us worship together.
And let's sing together. Hymn number 317, We Are Not Our Own. If you're joining us online, you can find the lyrics posted in the chat. I invite you to raise your voices in body and or spirit and stand here in the congregation or sit, whichever you feel best doing.
we are in the midst of wrapping up the stewardship season at OUUC, where we make pledges of financial support for this community. Stewardship is both a practical act and a spiritual practice. It takes all of us to support this congregation we love and to provide the resources that pay our staff and our bills. Joining our individual resources to do this is a profound act of community. Each stewardship season, we have an opportunity to pause, to notice what we value, and to give as an expression of gratitude for what we have received. For the past month, each Sunday, a different member of the OUUC community has shared a brief testimonial about something they've found here at OUUC, something they valued. The final testimonial will be shared by Whitney Godby.
Good morning. My name's Whitney. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a white woman in my late 30s, and today I'm wearing a mushroom print dress. My connection with Unitarian Universalism began in 2014 when I moved to Bellingham. I had recently left evangelical Christianity, the faith in which I was raised, and my parents and I were still figuring out how that would impact our relationship. I didn't have a clear idea of what I did believe yet, just not that anymore. During a visit with my dad, he gently, and I believe wisely, encouraged me to find a faith community in order to, in his words, keep the spiritual side of you alive. One of the places that I visited was the Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship, also known as BUF. During my first year there, I observed many rituals around growing up. A baby dedication, a bridging ceremony, a coming-of-age mentorship, and our whole lives sexual education. In 2016, I was pregnant, and when I pictured my child's future, I found I wanted it to include those rituals. I knew I would need help with parenting, and I wanted to have a community that said that they would support that journey and create a nurturing environment for learning. So Devin was born, and Buff was part of the meal train that took care of us during those first 2 weeks. And he was dedicated there too, with both sets of grandparents and a great-grandparent attending the ceremony. In 2018, we moved to Olympia, and I started visiting OUUC. Our attendance was sporadic. We lived much farther from the church than I had in Bellingham, and I found it difficult to fit in church attendance around toddler nap times and meals. And then the pandemic. I joined in the weekly parent support calls a couple of times and occasionally Zoomed in for the Sunday service. I got calls from the pastoral care team, and I knew I had a safety net here if I needed it, but it wasn't the experience that I had imagined. A turning point for me was a message that Reverend Mary and Reverend Sarah gave titled, "How Are the Children?" It was insightful, and it helped me feel seen. It validated that I'm not alone and that the congregation, you, were still investing in children's programming despite things being very different for families. Devin is 7 years old now and is starting to attend the Thursday evening children's classes, and that allows me to attend the parent support group and the social justice book group. This summer, Devin will get to attend the Our Whole Lives camp, and my friend Claudia even found a way to get him involved once at a sewing ministry gathering. My pledge to OUUC this year comes from gratitude for what I'm beginning to experience here. It also is for the future that I hope for, the rituals, the community, the mutual support during different seasons. And my pledge is for others, perhaps for those who feel disconnected and unable to be present here yet. I am grateful for each of you who have sustained this community in so many ways.
Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practice of generosity and gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. We each have the power to share, and when we combine our gifts to create an offering, together we're able to do more than any of us can do alone. We also express our gratitude for the gifts that life has given us, for the network of relationships in which we live, and for the presence of this community. If you're new or visiting us for the first or second time, you're our guest, and we don't expect you to contribute. However, if you're moved to be part of our offering, what you share will be most gratefully received. The offering collected here does two things. It helps support the ongoing work of the congregation, which is supported even more so by your regular pledges. This offering also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. Our Share the Plate organization for March and April is the Hawk Foundation. This is what they share about their work.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Javon Bird, the Executive Director of the Hawk Foundation for Research and Education in African Culture. We're an Olympia-based nonprofit that works in African music education, partnering with the Olympia school districts. We also partner with the city of Olympia, providing African American and African-centered programming that's for the whole entire community. For the last couple of years, we've been working with the Olympia school districts, providing world music education and letting students enjoy African music and see how much of a global society that we live in. We're excited and we're thankful that we were chosen for this grant opportunity. And this funding will actually help us to continue to promote our programs in schools and within the community. Remember, most of the programming that we do is completely free for the students. So they're able to come in, learn about different culture, learn about things that they might not get a chance to learn about in school and class, like, African drums, African history, African American history. And most of the students, well, actually, I'll say all of the students who come into our program, they really, really love it. So I'd like to say again, thank you all for considering us as an organization that you would like to fund. And I look forward to continuing this partnership and continuing to work with the city of Olympia and spreading world culture and music.
May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
In time of daffodils, in time of daffodils, in time of daffodils, you know the goal of living is
Thank you, choir, for your beautiful music. And thank you all for your many gifts in all the ways that you share them. We come together on Sunday mornings bringing everything that is in our lives. Let's open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of community. We hear a drumbeat as we pause in this moment. It brings into our awareness that our individual hearts beat, and together we create the heartbeat of our community. So right now, let's just take a deep breath together, in and out, as we open our hearts to receive the complexity of what is in our world and our community today. I have some sad news to share this morning. We've had an unexpected loss in our community. At about 7:30 this morning, Ken Yo died. So let's just pause for a moment to take that in. Yeah, Ken was a beloved member of our community, and I know that our hearts extend to Anne. Ken had a very unexpected and short illness. He started feeling poorly on Friday evening. He was very well cared for at Madigan Health Center in his last day, and Anne was with him when he passed this morning. I've spoken with Anne a couple of times, and she knows that she is held in love in this community. We'll light a candle for Ken next Sunday, and we'll keep you posted on plans to celebrate his life. And so this morning, may we offer that Ken's spirit be at peace. And may we extend our love to Anne, that she continues to know that she is supported in the love of this community. So if you just take a breath with me, just take a breath. For our folks who are online this morning, I invite you to share what may be on your mind and in your heart by placing it in the chat. We'll be able to see what you share on the screen here in the sanctuary. And for those on site today, I invite you to come forward if there's something you'd like to bring into this community. You may place a stone in the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. Please come up through the side aisle and return by the center aisle. So let's hear the heartbeat of our community as we open our hearts in love and care for all who share today. We'll place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And one more stone placed in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken this day. I invite you into a time of meditation and prayer. Please be in whatever way is comfortable for you. And today I offer the Buddhist loving kindness or metta meditation. We begin by blessing ourselves, then moving out to bless all beings in the interdependent web of life. So settle in. Just notice what is happening in your body as you breathe. Feel the grounding of the earth beneath you. You might soften your focus of your gaze or close your eyes. And notice your breath. I invite you to place your hand on your heart or your chest or your belly so that you can feel your breath. Would you please repeat after me? May I be safe. May I be whole. May I be free. And now I invite you to extend your heart and mind out to others in your circle of friends and family, members of this community, neighbors, co-workers. Would you repeat after me? May you be safe. May you be whole. May you be free. And I invite you now to extend your heart and mind out into all beings, all that is, all that we are connected to in the interdependent web of life. Would you please repeat after me? May all beings be safe. May all beings be safe. May all beings be whole. May all beings be whole. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. May all beings be at peace. Let's hold a moment of silence together.
Our reading this morning comes from Thomas Merton. There is something in the very nature of my freedom that inclines me to love, to do good, to dedicate myself to others. I have an instinct that tells me that I am less free when I am living for myself alone. The reason for this is that I cannot be completely independent. Since I am not self-sufficient, I depend on someone else for my fulfillment. My freedom is not fully free when left to itself. It becomes so when it is brought into the right relation with freedom of another.
If you were hanging out in certain parts of the internet about 20 years ago, you might have encountered the expressions free as in free speech and free as in free beer. Anybody? Folks in online open source software communities at that time were trying to distinguish between software that could be freely modified, like speech and other forms of expression, and software that could be used free of charge, freeware that was available without any purchase price or licensing fee. And sometimes I think about those conversations and those definitions, and I wonder what version of them might be useful for us as Unitarian Universalists. For a long time, folks in UU circles have talked about freedom of faith, or called us the faith of the free, which is great. But like the software community, I think we have multiple definitions of the word free running around in there. This is a very English language problem. We tend to have one word that does a lot of work, and you have to figure it out from context, right? So in the software communities, some folks actually gave up on using the English word free. They now describe the software as gratis, available without payment, and Libra, available at liberty, or to change with liberty. And of course, this problem is hardly limited to UU circles. It is not only an English language problem, it is an American problem. We talk a lot about freedom in America, but what do we mean? When I was in seminary, Dr. Sylvester Johnson came to deliver a guest lecture in my history class. Dr. Johnson is a Black man whose scholarship at the time was focused on what he described as African American religious expressions from 1600 to the present. Dr. Johnson opened his time with us by saying that America's dominant culture, the American way of being formed by white Europeans who came and started 13 colonies along the East Coast, that culture was established by folks who felt unfree in their European societies. So they came to North America to feel more free. However, he told us, these folks understood freedom discursively, meaning in relationship or in comparison. So the way to know that I am free is to be able to point to somebody else who's less free than me. If you understand freedom this way, then you wind up falling into some of the patterns that have been created as part of our dominant culture. The patterns that say poor white folks, because they are white, are still more free than poor Black folks or indigenous folks, but still less free than rich white folks. But don't worry about that. And those rich white folks, meanwhile, are still less free than the European royalty that they wanted to get away from. So what does free mean in this case? Dr. Johnson asked us, and now I ask you. Being a person who gets to do whatever they want, apparently. I'm free, I can do anything, no constraints, no consequences. And he said to us, that is bizarre. If you get to do whatever you want, no constraints, no consequences, no limits, it means you are not in real relationship with other people. Being in relationship always comes with some kind of constraint, something you do or don't do for the benefit of the other person, because you care about them, because you are related. To be completely free, in the sense of being totally unconstrained, suggests that you are also completely isolated from real human connection. And that is considered a form of inhumane treatment. Think about people in solitary confinement. It's awful to be denied real human connection. The author Mia Birdsong agrees. She writes, "The American dream tells us that freedom is the state of being unburdened and unconstrained by others or systems, but we tend to understand this as an individualistic concept, and this is where we have to expand our understanding to fold in what is actually an older understanding of freedom." She goes on to say, in the text Liberty and Freedom, David Hackett Fisher explains that the word free is derived from the Indo-European word freya, which means beloved. Friend also shares this common root with the word freedom. A free person in this original sense was someone who was joined to a tribe of free people by ties of kinship and rights of belonging. Freedom was the idea that together we can ensure that we have all the things we need: love, food, shelter, safety. She says, the way I've come to understand it, freedom is both an individual and a collective endeavor, a multi-layered process, not a static state of being. Being free is, in part, achieved through being connected. This I find much more useful. This points us to a definition of free that I think is the central one we value in UU communities. Free meaning uncoerced. One element of our theological heritage, which was positively shocking back in the day, was our universalism. Universalism originally referred to universal salvation. No hell, no damnation. Everybody goes to be part of the greater love when they die. And in the 18th and 19th century, people thought this was a completely unworkable idea. If compared with the widely held Christian understandings of hell as the reason you should follow the rules, if you got rid of hell, why would people behave themselves? So here's a story I love from that time. The Reverend Hosea Ballou was an early American Universalist preacher and circuit rider. So he traveled from community to community preaching Universalist sermons. There were a lot of people circuit riding at this time. So one day, Hosea was riding along with a Baptist preacher. And they got into arguing theology as they traveled, the way you do. At one point, the Baptist looked over at him and said, "Brother Ballou, if I were a Universalist and feared not the fires of hell, I could hit you over the head, steal your horse and saddle, and ride away, and I'd still go to heaven." Hosea Ballou replied to him, "If you were a Universalist, that idea would never occur to you." In other words, if you don't require the fear of punishment after death to stop you from acting on your worst impulses, you've probably already aimed yourself instead toward living up to your aspirations and values. When you're not coerced by the threat of hell, it is your choice to be in right relationship with others. Unitarian Universalism is not an easy religion. We have never claimed it was. We have articulations of how we intend to be and the world we want to build, and many of them are countercultural. It can be unpopular or uncomfortable to champion some of our values, and it can be awkward when we inevitably have those moments when we realize that even within our communities and within ourselves and our commitments, we don't always get things right. For example, we aim ourselves collectively toward being places that celebrate the gender identity and expression of every person. It is our goal to use the right pronouns for every person every time. And I don't know about you, but I have, at least once, screwed up. And I have to remember not to make it more awkward by making it all about me. It's enough to simply say, well, I think they said they were going to bring a table. I don't do this because somebody is making me correct the way I refer to others. No one is going to come marching down the aisle to charge me a fine. I'm not afraid or coerced by the fires of hell. I choose freely to keep focusing my efforts on giving everyone the respect of always using the name and the pronouns that are true for them. I do this because it is in alignment with my larger goal of treating everyone with respect. Mia Birdsong writes about this too. In her lovely book, How We Show Up, Reclaiming Family, Friendship, and Community, she describes what she has learned about accountability from people living in transformative justice practices. In her writing, she calls on us to expand our understanding of accountability. So many people hear the word accountability and they think of it as getting called on the carpet, right? Your boss is going to call you in and scold you. Mia Birdsong says that's not the kind of accountability that really helps us. She writes, accountability, as I mean it, is more about ourselves in the context of the collective. It's seeing the ways that we may cause hurt or harm as actions that indicate that we are not living in alignment with values that recognize our own humanity and the humanity of others. It's about recognizing when our behavior is out of alignment with our best selves. And, as transformative justice leader Mia Mingus explained to me, you can't hold another person accountable. You can support someone's accountability, but we hold ourselves accountable. Accountability is about recognizing and accepting that we are necessary and wanted. It's understanding that when we neglect ourselves, don't care for ourselves, or are not working to live as our best selves, we are devaluing the time, energy, and care that our loved ones offer us. Let's hear that line again. We are necessary and wanted. We are not disposable. We're not someone that others had to be coerced to accept and include. We are now back to understanding our free faith as meaning uncoerced community. Each one of us chooses to be here. Each one of us chooses to do what we can to live up to our values. And each one of us chooses to be part of the covenant that binds us together in relationship. This is not free as in without consequences or costs. It's not free beer. And I find that some of my greatest spiritual growth, the biggest expansions of my capacity to live into my values, come in relationships that are difficult for me and in which I find myself choosing to figure out how to apologize and do better next time, or choosing to respond with compassion maybe after a long walk to move the irritation through my body. Or choosing to be brave enough to say, hey, that conversation we had did not feel good to me, and I wonder if it didn't feel good to you either. Can we talk about it? Do you know the old saying about how a person's right to free speech does not extend to yelling fire in a crowded theater? Some choices that we make do come with consequences, like, in that instance, potentially causing a panic and getting fined by the fire marshal. People can freely choose what they want to say and how they want to act. And then we are also responsible for engaging with the consequences of those choices. Sometimes our choices bring us closer together immediately when we find shared understanding or we offer and accept a hug. Sometimes our choices require us to go through the uncomfortable experience of learning about our impact on another and growing toward being a person who will make different choices next time. Now, you can choose not to go through that uncomfortable experience. There are plenty of occasions in which one person offends or hurts another and then does not come to do the learning and the repair that exist in that space of discomfort. I imagine we've all done that at least once, right? But as Dr. Johnson pointed out, the more often you choose no consequences, I do what I want, the lonelier your life will become. And remember, these are not consequences like the punishment model. No one's going to send you to your room to think about what you've done. These are consequences in the most fundamental definition, something that logically or naturally follows from an action or condition. In a certain sense, this is just physics. One thing happens, then another. A consequence of me offering a hug to someone can be that we feel closer. It's an excellent consequence. And we don't have to figure this out alone. Mia Birdsong says, we are responsible for one another. That doesn't mean we can heal someone else or make them accountable. They have to own a commitment to those things. But it does mean being there, not avoiding our people when they experience trauma, illness, violence, or pain that we find hard or scary. It means not abandoning people to their relentless pain or hurting. And it means being there for our folks when they mess up. All the hurt and harm we may be experiencing or causing in the world comes from experienced or inherited pain and trauma. She writes, I want to heal my own trauma and pain because it brings me closer to being a happy, free person. And it is also the thing that will decrease the harm that I do cause and make it easier for me to hold myself accountable when I mess up. I am committed to doing that work, and I can't do it without other people committing to help me. This is very like our covenants in their fullest versions. We say, here's how I want to be part of this community and live these values. We say, oops, I'm not that person yet. I'm realizing what I need to do to learn and grow. And because we live in a universe with entropy, we know that we will never get all the way to perfectly living our values. Physics is one of my spiritual practices. So I can say, I want to keep learning and growing toward the Monica that I aspire to be. She is the one with whom I am accountable. I owe her my best efforts towards finding my own sore spots and healing them so they don't hold me back. I owe that Monica my best efforts towards living a life that embodies my values, including changing those values when I learn more. And I owe her the gift of letting others help me, not make me, grow and heal and repair mistakes that I have made. We are a people of a free faith, not like free beer, but free as in freely chosen, uncoerced, joined together by ties of kinship and belonging, knowing that we are necessary and wanted. May we keep on freely choosing to be in this community together.
Let's sing together hymn number 325, Love Makes a Bridge. I invite you to rise in body and spirit. Let's sing together. Love makes a bridge from heart to heart and hand to hand. Love finds a way when laws are blind and freedom banned. Love breaks the walls of language, gender, class, and age. Love gives us wings to slip the bars of every cage. Love lifts the hopes that force the fears have beaten down. Love breaks the chains and gives us strength to stand our ground. Verse 5. Love makes a bridge that burns and shakes around destroy. Love carries faith through life and death to endless joy. Thank you for singing.
If you are online and you have a chalice or a candle, please join me as we extinguish our flame with the words of Betts Weinecke. May we leave this place seeking an uncharted and freely chosen way to wholeness, knowing we have companions along the way. Go in peace, go in joy, go in love.